Hello and welcome back. We're going to start playing on the other site so I can pause it. Any moment now. There it goes. Pause. Okay. Let's do the thingy. What do you think? So, I was going to reconstruct the texture atlas blah 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 thing. But it don't work for reasons I don't know. So, what exactly can I do? Oh, hello, kitty. Yeah. Well, let's do this thing first. Let's set a temporary texture for it to have while it loads the other ones. How in the world would I do a temporary texture is the question. I would do a temporary texture by, if it's requesting a texture which does not exist, I make a duplicate of an already existing texture. Okay, then I also need to say that it's a duplicate, it's not the correct texture, so the loader doesn't assume that it is, and then not load it, because it thinks it's already there. The loading thing will not worry about loading things that already exist. Okay, if that, and not that dot placeholder. Okay, that'll do. If that and not that placeholder, I'll just worry about the images for now. I don't have anything else, so there is nothing else to get. Then, when it requests an image that does not exist, it needs to duplicate over a placeholder one. That requesting thing was the thing I just recently added. Where the heck am I? I minimized it, didn't I? That was the thing which grabs the stuff within here, this missing texture. Okay. So if there's a missing texture, we want to do the warn thing, I guess, which is just going to spam it a bajillion times. Or not. Technically, it'll only say it once, because then it will have the correct one. Okay, in which case we want to... So this is grabbing the thing from the textures that is here. If that does not exist, if not CPU. Not CPU? Why not CPU? Because only the GPU one has this problem. The CPU one will just display transparent, I guess. I feel like that's not required though. Maybe there was a reason for it. Whatever, so I'm seeing if that's equal to undefined. So if it is equal to undefined, then I want to save a placeholder thing in this location. Okay, how do I do that? I just need to assign. To assign, I would need to... So when I create... I mean, that's one way I can do it. So when I create my placeholder image, which is just a UV map, so when this is loaded in, I can just give it the placeholder thing, and then this can just say that is equal to this thing pattern 3. So I believe that's all I really need to do here. Okay, so when pattern 3 gets loaded in, we need to give it that information. How do we do that? I could just assume that it's been loaded in because it's one of the first preloaded stuff before everything gets initialized. So technically I could just dump that code into some sort of a place like that. I could add it into a thing so it runs as code rather than whatever, so when it's done it will do a thing. I could add a condition into every single image loading, so if this image loads then it will do the thingy no matter what. Or I could have it happen within here. I mean, technically it should be fine happening in here, shouldn't it? Because it'll only happen once. Okay, sure, why not? Is that up loud? Relatively. I try to turn it down a bit, maybe it's fine. Just skip forward that a bit. Okay, so I just gotta say placeholder. Okay. Sure, why not? Let's just do it this way, because why not? Placeholder. So that image will forever be a placeholder. So I believe that's all I should need to do. And then, as long as I don't require the texture somewhere outside of the 3D thing, I just have to code that condition into anything that happens to require it. So now I just move the initialize game thing. I do not want to delete the loading scene though. I technically want the line of code to be on an extra layer, so it's just always there, showing, until everything's done. But I don't want to have multiple things being displayed, so I feel like I should probably delete the loading scene. Yeah. So I want to initialize and delete that. I remove pretty much everything from here now. It's just loading that. I suppose I can delete this stuff, because that's working perfectly fine. Well, seemingly. Wait. That stuff. Uh-huh. And then I just put that there. I feel like there's some rogue indents around. Nope, okay. Hello, poster, join. Feel free to... It's just you again. I feel like you're a bot. Are you a bot? Let me know if you're not. Alright, I need to drop it here, where we go to. So the loading scene should just continue on in the background even though you don't see it. You should still see a spray of logs on the side there. Not set it of undefined, okay. 721. What? 721 game. Seven, 2, 1. Oh, int. Okay, yes, that's a point, isn't it? This is actually loading textures that don't exist, or it's assigning them to be. Okay, never mind. Oh, I haven't loaded in the assets. Gotta load in the assets first. So that doesn't quite go there. It goes a little bit further down. Where you at? There you are. So if we need to load the assets, where are they loaded? Well, that's this thing. And that adds a bajillion things to the code. Well, no, that's the, okay. So initializing models. And then this thing goes, which discovers the textures. But this is not necessary for anything. So I believe it should be okay to put here, maybe. Nope. Seven two eight width of undefined damage. Because you want to know the width of this thing. I mean, it's not necessary. What would be about the size of that? So if we're going, well, it'd be about less than 1. Let's say 5? Just keep that there for reference. Five by 5. There should be some more of this around. Not even being used there. Oh, there. Now we'll move back up again. I don't know why that's there. Where did I just write that? Oh, okay, good. Okay. Seems to have done its thing. We got some missing textures, cannot read trace of undefined. We have objects that haven't loaded in yet. Is that what that's telling me? The missing textures should be fine. So 3946 functions. 3946. Oh, because it doesn't exist. It can't find. No, it can't find. What can't it find here? Trace of undefined. So let's try to load the thing at the top of the level. I'm pretty sure the box should be loading first, the level itself, the room cube. So the material should be fine, and then that's just a material index thing. Which one of these things particular is the thing that it's saying does not exist? I mean, object is object. That should be all the information that's here. Which one's what? I hardly get to see my loading screen now. Okay, so I'm assuming that's trying to load a texture. Called dress, which would make sense. Looking at what those names are saying. Okay. So which one's the one that says dress? 3946. 3946 is the mat. Huh. Okay. Wait, but 3948 is working? Yes. 3967. Wait, what? 3967. Would be down here. Okay. And your problem, Trusts of Undefined. You are a billboard. Why does a billboard give a damn about this? $39.67. Okay. Is that not exactly the same as the thing I just logged? It's not one of those damn errors where logging it fixes it, is it? Oh, it doesn't exist within textures. So this would be Tress, which is the whole damn point. Wait, but if yeah. So it, but no. Okay, never mind. So object material matte, that matte. I don't know, let's just log it, see what it does. I mean, the texture should not exist, but that's the whole point. This thing was always just checking to see if a texture didn't exist. If it didn't exist, it would log me an error, which is that one. So these are textures that are not existing. But then this one doesn't like it. 3969. Nice. Okay. So you're now on my log thing. So 8 and 7. Should be 8 and 7. So the tress is the material. 3967. 3967. Sure, why not? And MI is texture. So it's loading a texture. That texture is this texture. So object material, that I don't understand what this is about. Object material. I don't understand this at all. What are you? How does this equate? Undefined. Well, obviously that's the problem I have here. Okay, what is object? So apparently this object does not have a material? Like, it's feeling like the objects haven't even loaded yet. I mean, yes, you have no material. You are a light emission. You are a light billboard. A light billboard should not be given a damn about the dress. So why is it looking for that in this? What is I? In M. What is M? M is that. So that's the material, yeah. Matte. Where does matte come from? Oh, I've just copy-pasted code. Okay. I've also forgot the door thing. So in this case, it's that is equal to this. Because the billboards work differently for no particular reasons. They don't have the same thing. Okay. So we want that to be this, we want this to be that, and we want that to have placeholder. This seems very loud. Do I just have it turned up? Okay, last lot of songs have been loud. I don't know. I need somebody in here to tell me if it's too loud or too quiet. So do that, do this, and this is that. Okay. Now everything should be back together again? Bam! And then as things load in, takes a while for things to load in, doesn't it? Unless they're not loading in. Uh-huh. I do have that placeholder. That's just what it's trying to load, that's not editing the object itself. And that is a texture location, again, not editing the object itself. So... unless I've done something wrong in the preloader, with those logs going out of here, I should just see the stream of stuff loading like normal. I'm definitely not seeing this stuff loading correctly. That just like flicker? It's normal. Because it's using itself as a normal map probably. Just like it's using it as a reflection map. I think it's only using the red channel, the reflections. Brush? You're gonna do that thing again, are you? Wow, how'd you get... what? Huh? Where am I? I am confused. Huh? Okay. Oh, refresh. So it appears to be loading. Things disappeared. Okay. Valid thing. Interesting. So all of that is missing. Okay. 4 matches. Oh yeah, okay. Rather concerned about this thing. Well, I guess I did something wrong with that. It should have been as simple as just adding that extra bit there. And not placeholder. Because this is what's currently being added, but it added just the wrong thing. So if that exists, then it's already loaded. Unless it's a placeholder. Did I spell placeholder wrong? Where am I? Nope. Scene, files, texture, pattern 3, placeholder. It is what it is. Maybe I should do that first. Scene, textures, whatever that thing is equal to the pattern 3, which should have placeholder. In which case, if it exists and does not have placeholder, then you've loaded. But if it does have placeholder, then it would go to else, which will override it with a new image. Oh, that's a problem. Oh no. I cannot draw the new image until it finishes loading. That's probably why it says that error. In which case, what happens? Does it just simply not ever get there? I mean, it's on that. Oh, yeah, well that's on that, but not the thing that's supposed to be. Okay. Okay, so I need it to wait until this is done before it can display it. Okay, how do I do that? I could create a placeholder version of whatever this thing is with an extra bit of information on the end of the string for its ID so it can load it into that place before swapping it over to here. I could create a whole new category for things to be saved in if those are the cases. I mean, the whole new category is better because that means I know what the file's name are. As long as all my images have unique names, it won't override anything. But if I have to add an extra bit to the end of the string of each of the names, there's a possibility I could override something because I happen to end the name of a file in temp or something, and that deletes it. But, yeah, two images the same name, one with temp and one without, because one's a temporary one. Yeah. Or I could just name it some gibberish, but no, I'd rather not have that. Okay, so I'm like in the temporary save location, but that means it needs to know about a temporary save location, or if it's in the temporary save location, and all of that sort of stuff. So I could... if I had... but no, I could... I'm liking the temporary save. Which sort of requires new core stuff for that. Oh, whatever. I would assume I want a temp version. Files temp. That way I can keep the data structure the same, I just swap out that one thing. Okay. So if it is this, okay. How do I do this? I wanted to do this, but to a different place. That needs to be a different thing. I suppose I could just stick a return in this. And then... this is not an else. Then... so if this thing is a thing, then we do something. And if this is a thing, then we do that. Else... alright, so if it exists, then we check to see if this is false. If this is false, I feel like I should swap that around. Alright, so if it's a placeholder thing, we do whatever. If it's not a placeholder thing, it already exists, we can just continue. It's already loaded. Somehow a duplicate got put through accidentally. If it's this thing, then I want some sort of a variable. What? I could say image loc, I suppose? Or data loc? Or save loc? Sure, why not? Let's go save loc. Or temp loc. No, what is this? Files or files temp? That's the question. So, seeing blah blah blah. Yeah. What do I call this? Is it just I mean, I could just call it a location. It's not a temporary location unless it is the temporary location. It's either a temporary or not temporary location of the place where I am storing this. Let's call it store. Store equals files. And that becomes this. I mean, technically I could keep all of that around, but let's do that. Everything's a variable. Oh, no, that one's fine, this one is not. I guess this has to be a thing too. Store. It's so nice and rainy. Whatever. Blah 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 blah. So I think that's all good. So yeah, store is in files, unless this case then it's files temp. Is it TMP or TEM? Temp. Okay, so you get stored in files temp. And then on the onload, we want to swap that back around again. So if this dot store is equal to files temp, then we want to do that. Before we do that, we want to move it across. So we do that. So scene files, that type, that name is this thing, and this thing can go away. So yeah, remove it from the temporary, put it into the literal, or the actual, or not temporary. Physical? I don't know. Hello, those to join. Feel free to ask questions if you know what's going on. Otherwise, we just delete it from wherever we wanted it if we don't have a thing. And you do whatever the heck you do. You delete it from... Okay. That should be that. Draggedy droppity. So now it should load everything in as it loads things in. And everyone's messaging me now. Hey, there we go! All the different maps loading in. I can't help but notice the background's still not there though, but they loaded. So why didn't that? I don't seem to have gotten the error. Is there some way somehow it's assigning it an atlas map location? No. Why would it not have happened? I don't have the errors I had before. We're not getting this loaded, are we? That's all this is. So we're looking for cube texture, cube spec, cube reflect, cube texture. Why is that there twice? Because there's two materials. No, why are they not all there twice? Because those are the same. It's just that texture that's different. Why is the name the same? Now, what texture am I supposed to be loading? What's this guy saying? Guy's complaining that he has too much money. I'm like, well, I'm here for you, man. Here's my links. Here's my donation. Here's my Bitcoin. Hey, thanks for the follow. I think he's complaining about his bank account? Or he's either complaining because he has too much money in the bank, or the bank is complaining that he has too much money. I don't know, I don't really want to talk about it right now. I'm trying to do this. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, that loaded perfectly fine though. Yeah, so what texture in particular am I looking for? That's the question. I am looking oh, it's that one. It's the one with just the really long name of random junk, because it's not actually named. Which this is clearly not telling me about. Okay, I'm just not logging that in my arrow. Let's add that to the arrow. Yeah, it's telling me all the other information, but it's not telling me what the texture itself is. Which is that. I mean, I know what it is because it should be the thingy that I'm talking about. And this one's different. Oh, okay. What? Okay. That's interesting. I must have copied it that way, so it's the other way around that it's wrong. I guess that I don't even know what that means. It was wrong, that's all. Let me just that one's in an array. What the heck, bro? I'm all over the place here. Well, I guess it would be stringifying the array. But yeah, that's supposed to be that. You are the ID of the texture that you do not have. Try again. Hang on, this guy's taking advice from a bad person. Hilarious. Where am I at? Apparently everything's going wrong. It does not upload correctly. Nope, syntax error. What did I do? How to tab? I don't have enough window space to have all of this and Facebook. I need a fourth screen if I want that. It's delaying for a while because I knew people were gonna want me, but then they didn't, so I was like, oh, okay. And now everybody wants me. Okay, here we go. Yes, so that is the texture I want. So I have A and I have B. So it's not the same texture. Everything else is loading in perfectly fine. So why did those textures not load in? At least those two. Hey, I was using reflect as well. These ones seem to have perfectly fine reflection maps. Oh, they have their own reflection maps, don't they? Okay, so everything with the non-custom one would be displaying this. What was it this time? This guy bought a ton of 3D printers, just so many of them for no particular reason, and he's only really used like 2 of them, and of the 2 he only really uses 1 of them. He just used the other one to see if it worked. And he's got like 4 or 5 of them now, and they're just all stacked up around the place. And then he doesn't even really use the one he has, he just printed the same thing again and again and again, so he's got like 10 of that standard staircase chess piece thing castle. He just kept printing it. There was no difference. He wasn't doing anything different. There was no change in the settings, no different materials, no nothing. He just printed it, and I was like, hey, that worked well, let's print it again. A friend who wanted money, who has too much money, asked him for the advice, and he's like, he said, oh, just wait. And I'm like, wow, I'm surprised he didn't suggest you buy a lot of 3D printers. And he's like, well... Oh my god. What is this guy talking about? Oh, somebody tried to scam him. And the scammer's asking for information. I'm like, bruh, if they have that, if it was the government, they would have that information. Oh, did he give him the information? He said the guy hung up on him. I feel like this guy's about to get scammed. Yeah, so apparently he has more money in his bank account than he thinks he should have, considering what he's been doing. His girlfriend's been getting angry at him because he's been buying needless stuff. He's supposed to be saving so he can move to her. And he's just has been buying lots of useless junk, new computer and all sorts of stuff, which he really does not need. His old computer was perfectly acceptable for everything he did. But he's like, no, I want a smaller, more portable one that I can just take on an airplane. I'm like, you mean a laptop? He's like, no. So he bought this really expensive computer that he could have bought a top-of-the-line brand new one if he just went for a normal one, but he went for a small compact thing. It cost him thousands. All these other really sort of dumb things. Like, if you were going to do that, wait until before you move, or even better yet, get it after you move. Then you don't have to take it with you, because you're already there. You just assemble it on the other side with new parts. All that sort of stuff. Then he's been doing all this gambling and stuff, which he got into massive trouble for before. Oh my god. And now his girlfriend's been getting mad at him because he bought some sunglasses and a drone. And she doesn't know that he's just won real big with gambling. So I'm like, do not tell her. Just do not tell her that you have been gambling. Just let her think that. Let her think you're just irresponsible with the money. Do not tell her you've been gambling, because the whole relationship almost ended many times. And really actually should have, I think. Like, oh my god. If I was with a girl who was doing this sort of stuff, I would not be with her anymore. Because, oh my god. He spent everything. He couldn't pay rent anymore. He had to leave the country he was in. Like, oh my god, it was real bad. I don't even know if he could pay for his plane tickets to get back. Don't know how he really got back. But he had to ask everybody for money and stuff, and then he just gambled it again. And again and again. But he was usually pretty good with paying people back. Even if that put him more into debt with other people, so it was sort of just a shuffle around. But, yeah. He should not be gambling. And now he's supposedly he's stopped now. The scam call freaked him out a lot. Because he thought he actually was getting in trouble for something. I'm telling him to hide stuff from his girlfriend. Perfect relationship advice. Lol. Ah. Oh my god. I love how quickly I'm typing right now. It's like, God. My fingers are getting sore from typing too quick, actually. It hasn't happened in a long, long time. Fairly accurately, too. I've made so little spelling mistakes, other than the generic ones, like the word perfect. If they spell that damn thing. Anyway, so what the heck is going on here? So it's failed to load these textures. Did it even try? No. It should have still said one of these messages things, even if it hadn't. So, what could be the problem here? I mean, it would have just swapped it out for the placeholder. It should be loading it because it's attached to the object itself. It's loading the other objects. Is there something special about this object? Perhaps because it's one of the first ones to load, but even then it shouldn't matter because it's loading it from the object itself, not from an external place. Let's see what happens if I immediately click before it has a chance to load anything. Let's just spam the click button. Okay, what happens to the textures of this stuff? Does that load in? Yes. So if that loads in, then it's not because it was just already existing before, like, before it tried to load it, because it got a whole heap of these things outside. Or at least used to have a whole heap of these things somewhere. Did I remove them all? Oh, okay, never mind. So it could actually be from that. Yeah, that thing's glitchy. Well, I mean, the lights have been here since the very, very beginning, and they have their texture loaded perfectly fine. Those things... that's a different problem. These things had also existed since the beginning, and they loaded perfectly fine. What's going on? Is it perhaps... Like, the best I can think of is it had started loading and then was replaced by the temporary one because it hadn't fully loaded, because it hadn't existed yet. So that can't be right. I don't have the draw error, so it's not half loaded and then failed. It should be loading. Why is it not? Is it on the list of stuff to be loaded? I don't know if I can see that. Okay, let's just disable it from unloading the loading screen so I can still see if that stuff's going. It should be transparent. And lay it on top. Oh, it'll be laid behind, won't it? Oh, I don't know where it's going to be. So let's get rid of that. Touch my glasses, didn't I? I think I'll smudge right where I look. Take my glasses off to look for my cleaning cloth, but can't see my cleaning cloth because I took my glasses off. Oh, I still can't see it. Where's it at? Oh, there it is. software. Copy across? Probably, yep. Go again. Nope. Oh, it is laid behind, I can't see. Okay, to fix this, I would. Well, the rendering. I changed this. Debug. I believe that should work. Oh. Huh? What was that? Oh, there we go. Oh, it stopped. Why did it stop? Probably that. Interesting that I could still see it though. Oh, it's just the debug's not being rendered. There we are. Interesting. Yeah, let's make that text a bit brighter. Text. Gotta upload it. I don't see it. I don't see it. Wait, what? But how does that work? Okay. Let's remove that as well then. I don't... But it can't... Huh? Well, light is being... But that's not. There. Right near the end. That file, that file. There it is again. Alright, so it's right near the end. Super obvious to see. It's not there. Why is it not there? Okay, am I doing a thingy here where I'm checking to see if it exists before loading it? Yes, yes I am. Okay, let's remove that little condition there, shall we? And that should fix it. Because there's no need to preload things that already exist, but the preloader itself already does a check to see if it exists. That was to delete duplicates from multiple different materials that have the same texture, but not, I don't know. Either way, there we go. Problem solved. It's really weird with that thing just spinning there, doesn't it? It's nice. Okay. Job done. Although I do like that sitting there on the side. Oh. What the heck is this? Well, yes, those aren't textures. Why is that trying to load that? That's new. Those should not be things within my textures. I don't know what that is.
Drastic CANT. What code is this?
JavaScript. Alright, let's change some other things. So instead of deleting the loading scene, what I actually want to do is delete the meshes within the loading scene so that thing can still keep going. Wait, what happens if I do this? Oh, it just makes a flash. Clears it for a frame, but then it keeps going. Okay. Yeah, I want to delete the spinny thingy when it's loaded enough to load in. Delete the spinny thing. That would be done by deleting it from the level outliner? No. That would be done by deleting objects. Okay. So scene objects equals just an empty array. Array? Object? Probably an object. Let's go for an object. And then at a later time I could do that entirely. So, where is your inputs? You don't have any. You need the scene. Does the scene exist yet? Nope. You are coming from the scene, not the viewport. Viewport scene, yep. Let's bump that up. You've got to be created before that. Then scene is an input you're going to have. Scene is scene. Scene.objects equals object. And then we would want another one of these things to go when everything's done. Where was that again? Right there. We don't care about that. So you would delete the scene in its entirety, which doesn't quite work. I mean, it works, but we'll still see it because it hasn't refreshed that layer. Okay. Load the game. We can still see things loading. Interesting things that says. Okay. The spinny thing went away, yes, I didn't even pay attention to when that happened. The text was still there though. Yeah. And then when it's done. Boop, boop. Oh, everything's still there. Interesting. That hadn't been deleting the scene? Okay. Interesting. Where's my scene? I lost it. Scene. Is loading scene. Okay, I could just add a simple condition. If there's no objects, then don't do anything else. Turn. So that'll get rid of the. Oh, wait, no. I want the text to be there, I just don't want the percentage part to be there. How do percentage? That's that. So we don't want that to go. Let's do it this way. That shouldn't have been overwritten. Okay, I should fix that. The scene is not being deleted. How does that work? Because viewport is storing a copy of scene, so when I delete the scene, it still exists within the viewport? Okay. That would imply that my deletion of the... Wait, how do I delete the viewport again? Yeah, scene delete. So the deletion function of a scene is not there. Where the heck are you? Where am I? Well, too far down. Wait, but then that's... I'm lost. It should be under here, but above the dotted line. Here we are. Scene delete. So we have viewport, scene viewports, delete window viewport. Okay. Oh, interesting that this has been wrong the entire time. So before, well, I mean that's deleting it from the place where I'm storing all viewports. I never use that. We also need to run the deletion of the viewports themselves, I guess. I mean, what if I... sure, whatever. Delete. Let's just sum that up a little bit. I don't need bar. Okay. I don't know, I feel like that should be fine. And then in the viewports... Where's viewport? How does your deletion work? You don't have one. Okay. How do I delete a viewport? Wait, but if it's... Huh? If I'm deleting it from the list of viewports, then where is the viewport even stored, if not in that list, and within the scene? Okay, how do I render? You find stuff. Yeah, so you go to the scene window viewports. Whatever. Wait, where am I? Okay, this is just above here. So see, yeah, scene window viewports is what's deleted. Delete the thing with that ID. Which means that this should no longer be visible to the rendering. You are not within order, so you should not be rendered. Why was it still being rendered? Was it being rendered? Okay. Are you actually being rendered or were you deleted? Maybe I hadn't updated to the newest one. $34.87. What? 34.87 functions. Oh no. I mean, that's obviously not the problem. All I really added was that. Maybe it was just a bad load. Nope, still there. Oh, wait. That should be fine. That was a bad upload, I guess. Data get cleared. Why is there still text? Are you actually still running? I mean, the text is there, so I assume so, otherwise it would be deleted when it clears it. So, why did it not? Not a damn clue. Whoops. Thanks for the follow. I got a lot of follows today. I haven't had this many views on DLive in a long time. No people talking though. Oh wait, no, you talked. I had 2 views today at the very least. Still there? Yes, you are logging. So this is rendering, it does exist. The heck, bruh. Is it still in the scene? Loading window is still within here. Okay, well, the loading window is there. That's heavily implying that it was never deleted. That never happened. Scene, scene, loading scene. Does the loading scene exist? Yes. Loading scene exists. Is this function in the list of functions that happen? No. It should be above that one. It is not there. Why do you not exist? Because it's already existing. remove loading thing. It has the same ID. There we go. Now it should appear and everything should be fine. Ah, well, it's been a while since I've had to look into any of that sort of junk, so I guess that's okay, I guess. And there it is. What, huh? I'm fairly certain I saw it there. What happened? Yes, there it is there. Done. It should still be there even... Oh, it is still there. I just don't see it because of the Cray. Because those things are red, it can't complete. Perfect. Okay, so the heck did you guys come from? Because that ain't something that should be existing. Very intriguing. How could I figure that out? Why wasn't that a thing before? Why is it a thing now? The difference, the only difference that I know is a thing is that. So apparently those were already there? Or something? So it shouldn't have those things trying to load now. No, we do have that loading still. Where did they come from? How did you get here? I did just upload, right? Oh, no. That didn't actually change anything. Okay, now it shouldn't be there. Okay, now they weren't there, it said done. And now it can go away. Great. Be nice if I get that to refresh itself as well. Is there any way I could force a refresh there? I mean, technically I could just, you know, pop that up and make it go away again just immediately. And that would refresh it without actually having anything visibly displayed. Would it? No. Yeah, it would have to have a delay, so it would have to visibly display. Or I could just add an extra layer just for that thing. Whatever. An extra layer would be fine as well, I think. No, that's an extra canvas. Context. Junk. I mean, technically there, I could do it, whatever. Okay, next up, what's happening? That thing is there. That thing is there whenever this thing is not there. So why does that make that appear? That's implying that there is a texture with that ID, so it didn't bother loading. Okay, I mean, this is a thing, but I don't remember how that fixes it, or anything. That should not be fixing anything. Oh! That's a... Oh, okay. Huh. That's how that'd be getting fixed. Interesting. Errors that don't break things, so we can change something later on. So I believe that should fix that. There we go. Everything loads in, and it's done. Little holes everywhere, damn it. Oh, that's the texture thing, that's right. Okie dokie. That seems to be working all well until there it goes. And now I'm out of texture atlas IDs. Okay. So fixing that gets fixed by what? I would need to, but I don't mind that thingy saying done down there. I mean, it's minimalist enough that I don't give a damn. Just have to give it a dedicated context to draw on, or have a force clear on contexts that I can just run in a function, which would probably be better to just have a force clear, but I don't care. So, what was it on? With that is that, let's now just do the simple fix, because I feel like that's used up all my mental power for today. I've done some major changes, so that's quite nice. What was the fix? What am I doing? I've already immediately forgotten what I was just about to do. Oh yes. Texture Atlas doesn't have enough information, so I need to put it through the other way, but I can't do it the other way because of some mysterious reasons I don't really know, so there's an alternate method I could do, which is already sort of in place. I just gotta connect up the dots. Which is, because I'm loading through and getting a list of all of the textures, I only give a damn about those textures, because that's all of the textures that are going to be used. So, where exactly did I put that information now? It's going to be up now, isn't it? Damn it. This. You are currently looping through all textures. Why I have that with 200? I mean, it's going to be less than 200, so whatever. And I just break out of it, so that's all good. So I just got to add a textures to this, and that just does that, right? I believe that is literally all I have to do, and then I just got to connect up that variable, which is... Wait, where am I putting that again? GPU prep render. Oh. Okay. GPU prep render beware. Oh, what? You're already taking this? Oh, that's the Atlas then, right? No? Okay, the heck you be? Oh, it's render. I don't... Oh, GPU... Yeah, prep, and then renders the thing I want. So that thing goes and bees this thing is that thing. That thing is this thing. Boobity boop. And there you go. Wait. That is not done in that fashion. Because... I mean, that's what that is, but that is not this. Okay, so this is going to be a T in textures T, and there'll be a I equals 0, I plus plus. I'm I suppose. If I is greater than, I guess, 199. Break. Okay. So, yeah, that looped through the textures. I is less than that, then we do whatever. I is 0, by plus plus. Textures is texture T. I do not believe T itself goes and does anything. So that should work exactly the same, except I won't have the disappearing stuff once I've loaded over 200 different textures. So as long as I don't have 200 individual textures on the screen, everything should be fine. Or it breaks. 3282. 3282. Okay, what the heck is this? I'm assuming this is not literal. Oh, it is literal. Wait, but the... how does that... Okay, what was there before? Oh. Yes, that would make sense. Because this is not that. This is this thing. That thing, dot Atlas? Which nothing is currently going to have. Well, pattern 3, I guess, has it. Files, textures, pattern 3. So, Atlas index, okay. So that thing's Atlas index will give me this information, I do believe. So that thing, textures, and yeah, it's Atlas index. Okay, well, we'll load it in. Everything seems to be loading up. Not seeing any change. Oh, there we go. Well, that's not corrected the slightest. Okay. Things appear to be loading the wrong textures. Oh no, it's just noise. Oh, I guess that's the wall texture. Oh, look at those lights. Oh, I love it. Okay, the heck did I do wrong this time? What did I do wrong? I do not know. So it does understand things. We have different locations, we have different sizes. It appears to be all correct, so they are being loaded incorrectly. They are just not being displayed correctly. Normal's where my colors should be, and colors where my normals should be. Okay. Well, the way that it should be handling the as long as it has... Oh, okay. Because the atlas here has to line up with this atlas ID. Okay, so to get around this, I would have to know what index within this array that thing happens to be, so this number can line up with that number. Okay, and is that the problem with my other thing too? It might well be, you know? I don't think it is, but it might be. No, because that would be lining up with what this thing is, which is what that thing is, so everything should have been fine that way. Okay, so I got to convert this into an array after having it as an object, because that's just how things work. And then I need to have that ID can be where this index is, rather than where this index is. I'm losing momentum here. Should I be doing it this way, or should I just go back to doing it that way? That's my question. I mean, ideally I wouldn't want to be uploading any more than necessary things anyway, so I should be doing it this way regardless. Okay. Drink. So, in that case, blah 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 blah. How do I do this? So, you have the text, textures go through here, textures go through this. We need this to point to that within the graphics card. So it needs to be pointing to the correct version of this. The index for this is what the index of the texture thing is. So whatever that thing says for what the index for that thing is. So that thing's index needs to be... But if I'm changing that index and this index, then they both have to point up, which means they both have to be altered. This is not the better way of doing things. I mean, it's nicer because it only requires writing the data required, but it also requires writing the data every time. I mean, okay, I guess. I'm trying to think of what it would be like in the upgraded version of this that I'm going to be doing next, the next big recode. Version 5 of the game engine. But I cannot really predict that far ahead because I don't understand how that fully works, and I don't want my headache coming back just yet. So, textures, see, atlas, index, blah 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 blah. Where do I go? What do I do? So you need to be converted. For you to be converted, you need to be converted before, after here. So at this point, obj to array. So this thing should be stored as name and then whatever the texture is, but the name is also within the texture. That's just going to be stripping all of that out. Now it's a stabilized array of junk with indexes, and that gets dumped through there. Okay, and then when we create the face mesh data stuff, we should be doing base. So you're dumping through that, which is including that. Oh, okay. No. We need to translate this information. Because that's just looking at the texture directly, it's not looking at the list of textures. So I need to get where it is on the list of textures and then use that index rather than this one, okay? Which does simplify things. No, that makes things longer. Okay, so since I'm loading the textures through directly, the texture index is listed on the texture itself, but not where it is within the list of stuff that I'm uploading that way, so it's not that index, it's a different index, in which case... what do? I can't upload objects. It needs to be a one-to-one. Either I upload a heap of information, or I do a really complicated way of converting things around the place. So it's probably better if I just upload the whole chunk rather than only what can be visually seen at this moment. Which, yes, would be better either way. And my headache is actually coming back now. Whatever. Well, it can just go right the way, because I'm not going to be thinking about complicated stuff now. Now it's back to just figuring out why the heck the way that other way doesn't work. So yeah. Okay, so that whole thing's not going to work. We need to switch all of this back to the way it was. Alright, so everything should be running the same. Or working again. So far so good. Okay. And now I will be doing what? So supposedly the whole thing's gonna work this way, which I should just be able to uncomment that and everything works the same. So just like what this was, this is uploading an array of stuff. Each index of this is the index that each texture points to for the texture atlas information. But instead of looking at the whole heck of a lot of data that's pushed through this thing... Wait. Yeah. Let's push through all of these individual things. So I have translation information and flip information. Instead of going through that, it's going to be going through the texture atlas, which contains 4 things for one and 1 thing for the other. Sure. Let's double check that. So the atlas trans is 4, flip is 1, great. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Set index 6. And if we have a look over here, this is all built within the whatever have you. So this stuff goes away again, and this comes back. So we do the atlas within the data image. You figure out by the same thing that does. So we need to get the atlas information of whatever index. This index should be going to whichever chunk. And then we have x, y, x, a, y, a. So 0, 1, 2, 3 are the first 4, and then we have the invert, which we're not actually using, which would be the 5th one. This should just magically know all of the information that's required to be known about. How does that know that? Because it needs to know the jump 5 ahead for each index that it wants to move forward. Does it know that? Oh yeah, never mind. Because this tells... So to get the Atlas thing, I know their index is 6, was it? 5? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So the index is 5. So that tells it that it's the 5th thing across. There's however many things. 5 things across. Oh, there's 5 things saying how big each thing is, so go to the 5th one. That'll tell you how many to skip to get to the beginning of the Atlas indexing information. Then this will tell me how many to skip forward to what index that I want. And then that will tell me the index's starting location of the Atlas information. The Atlas information starting index. So we'll jump down to that. And then this will tell me the beginning of this. So the beginning of the translation information, 0 would be the first one, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 would be the one that I don't use yet. So that should be fine. Positions of all of that is calculated on the CPU side using whatever this magical junk is. Okay. So we should have all of that. I is I. I is not being re-signed. I is only being used here, not before. It's not breaking anything. Text is the texture atlas information, the same way it's getting it for all of this stuff. So if it's getting it fine here, it should be getting it fine there. Not putting in too many things. We got our first 4, and then the 5th one for the invert. Each thing is only whatever it's supposed to be. That's going to that. Atlas information gets uploaded where? I believe here? I don't think that one's being used. So it should be going through the group in GPU indexes groups meta? No, that's doing the meta information. It's got to do the meta information before it can do the rest of the information. So the use groups? I don't know, however the heck that works. I suppose I should check it out. Okay, where the heck are you stored? New GPU indexes. GPU indexes, if it's a new one, is in the group's meta. No, the group's meta tells it how big things are, so groups. Nice simple groups. So that should be looping through that at some point in some sort of a way. No? So the first thing we've got to do is the version and version index. No, yes, no, I don't know. Or is this actually assigning directly? That re-uploads the thing. I don't really see it doing anything with groups. Atlas prep? No. Nope. Okay. Maybe it's just doing it directly at that moment. No, that doesn't make sense. So this is creating a new lot of information which is claiming it within the used unused thing. I guess it's going through the meta information to figure out where exactly that is, and it's just dumping it through. So is it ordered? Is it list? So does it just go through group by group assigning pixels? How the heck do you work? Okay. I mean, that thing's just straight up uploading it, so this isn't doing any of that. In which case, where am I assigning pixel information? No, the array is the image. It's a new array. Okay. So the array is the literal pixels. And I'm assigning the values to individual pixels here. Okay. And then that whole image is just made into a thingy and uploaded. Yeah. That's what that thing does. Data image array. Data image is stored here. Yeah. So that's the raw data, that's the image itself? Hang on. Yeah. So WebGL texture is this texture, and then if I said .data or whatever, I think it is, then that would be giving me this, but I just narrowed it down a little bit, I'm assuming. Okay. So that's literally assigning the pixel values at that moment to be uploaded. So as long as we're putting this in the right place, which should be according to how this thing works, assuming that thing's working. Yeah. So everything else does its stuff, so it should be. T would be what thing in particular I want to be doing, so it really should be this thing that I'm looping through rather than just the 200, but whatever. It should work for the first 200. And then array is what the array is. This is the index, and we want to change its pixel value. We only deal with red channels, so. Everything is telling me that this thing should be perfectly acceptable. What's the problem? So that should be all of that. This should be referenced in exactly the same way as it was doing it before. Except instead of looking at that, we're looking at this thing. Instead of just getting the information directly, we're going through that. So that was only doing a vec before. Was I just not worrying about the flip? Is that's not a function? And what's this? Oh, that's that thing. So yeah, that was just doing the trans from the Atlas trans, which wasn't doing the flip, just doing the trans. Okay. So, blah 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 blah, that should be that. We got x, y, xa, ya, and then we do this. So instead of doing trans 0, trans 1, trans 2, trans 3, it's x, y, xa, ya, x, y, xa, ya. UV is from external. Image is image, TUV is now my relative texture coordinates to the Atlas texture, and this is just returning the color value. Get texture pixel color. Okay, that should work perfectly, exactly 100% the way it should be. I already know it doesn't though. I didn't actually change anything. So it should still work the same way as it did before. It'd be interesting though while it's loading new stuff. Oh, it's got to upload the thing. It's nice that it doesn't just freeze the browser. That might take a moment, brackets. Yep. I can see the textures loading. It's the skybox, but it's broken because it's displaying on a billboard, I guess. Yep. So that's just doing everything the same way as it did before. It's showing the whole damn texture. It is scaling it, but to the wrong scale. Also, let's see. So what the heck is going on here? Is it rounding errors? Is it the wrong information I'm dumping through? I can't see it being the wrong information because it's literally the same information. We don't have negative numbers, so that could be a possible thing, even if it was, but it isn't, because that didn't matter. It's not being altered between here and there. This should just be straight up upload. So whatever values I have here should be there. Until we get to the stuff that doesn't exist. Could that perhaps be the problem? Maybe. I don't see how though. Nope. I feel like it's doing a bit better now. It's at least partially got the right texture up there. Yeah, that one thing in particular seems to be correct. Ugh. What's the sort? I'm still streaming, damn it. Well, this guy wants to talk. I might just fumble around for this thing while I'm offline. Nobody's viewing anyway. And then it's back to actually progressing in the gameplay mechanics. What? Is this guy actually talking, or is he just telling me this one thing? What's he saying? Oh boy, this guy's really badly paranoid right now. Is he over this room? I feel like that helped, but why I do not know. It's definitely showing things in a different way this time. Like, it definitely really seems to be doing that one correctly for at least that one texture. What makes that one special? What? Oh, okay. Yeah, this guy wants to talk. I'll be back tomorrow probably.